Well, hello. Welcome to Chief Architect Workshop. Make sure you say hello to us at our mailbox. Help us help you. Send your questions and files to chiefarchitectworkshop@gmail.com. Let's get started. Today we're going to learn how to draw a deck in Chief Architect. First thing we do is bring up a new plan, like that, find a wall. Let's draw the existing house by building a wall. Straight exterior wall, something like this. Goes 2 feet, and it comes 2410 this way. So we'll just stretch that to 2410. Hello. Right there, and then we goes back. Let's make sure that dimensions are where we want it. This dimension will grab. Let's make sure it grabs the right line. It does. Dimension line there. Let's grab this dimension line here. Draw a line there. Let's draw a line there. There. Let's draw a line here. And it is attaching to the main layer and not the siding layer, which is what we want. The deck has to be 20 feet out from the house. So we'll draw another line there. Let's dimension it. Manual dimension. No, we don't want manual. We want end to end. From here to here. Be 20 feet. So grab that line, click on the dimension, change it to 20 feet. Dimension the deck the other way. End to end. There to there, 2410. Offset. There we go. This is a freestanding deck not attached to the house, so we do not want Chief to use these walls to create the deck room. So we will change these walls. We'll select them, bring up the dialog box, and click No Room Definition. Now they will not be defined. Okay, we have accurate overall dimensions indicated with our guidelines and dimensions. And now let's build the deck. So we go over to build. We want to go straight deck edge. This will give us railing. We want no railing on this deck. So we go to straight deck railing. We have our line here. It's on that side of the line. That's the wrong way. We want it there. That's correct. There, see how we're using our guidelines to snap all the way. We want to snap all the way to the back. Now let's take our deck edge, connect it to the end there. Let's stretch this so it meets and creates a deck. There it is, and the deck is created. We'd like to go to the framing set. That's the default set that shows the deck. Let's go to the framing set. So we go to framing, and this is where we're at. And that is really, the spacing is not exactly what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to cantilever the deck so we don't have to worry about a ledger and flashing and deck details. This is added on after construction of the house, so we are not going to be resting the new deck on the house. We will not have a ledger, flashing, and all that sort of stuff going on with this deck. Well, first thing we have to do is we're going to have to make this wall invisible, because it is defining, it is creating a ledger detail automatically there to hold the deck, and that is not what we want to do. So we want to make this wall invisible, so it does not do that. So we use our control, hang on to control, pick all the walls, and then we're going to click invisible. And now, let's see how it automatically generated something a little closer to what we want, but we want the center line, we want a 2-foot cantilever on each end. So let's examine the deck framing dialog box. Let's see if we can select it. Let's tab it there and go down there. We have the deck structure. Ceiling structure, 8 3/8. Let's take a look at what 8 3/8 gives us. 7 1/4 are 2x8s. These are 5/4 boards. That's the true actual dimension, not the nominal dimension. 2x8 is actually 7 1/4. 5/4 true dimension 1 1/8. So that's good. Let's go to deck. We want to automatically regenerate the deck framing, which it did there. We don't want a border. Oh, that might be nice. Plank width 5.5. Overhang, little 1/2 inch, little gap there. Deck support. This is crucial. We want to. There's the beam edits. That's fine. We're using 2x8s because of the shorter spans, and instead of a 2x10, we have a lot more supports. For that reason, edit the post. These are the post spacings right here. Now we want these to be at 84 inches on center, and those look. That's what we want, but we have too many rows here. So let's edit what we can do here. So what we'd like to do is edit the beam spacing, which is the space from beam to beam. Notice how Chief automatically said this is the most efficient way to put the beams based on the dimensions. The 24/20, it was better to use the shorter 20-foot dimension to span using their algorithm. That's it. The word is algorithm. Very cleverly written algorithm. Chief has an incredible amount of very clever algorithms written in to speed up the process. Right now it has defaulted to 96, 8 feet. And let's take a look at a span table. So if we look at the span table from the National Residential Code, deck joist spans for common lumber. We have to worry about snow load, live load. This is a nice table. This is for the do-it-yourselfers, so you don't have to go to a structural engineer. As long as you use these spans, these species, you'll be safe. Now, Chief is assuming it's redwood, so it's we're spacing the joist at 16 inches on center, so it's setting it to about 8 feet. And we're going to use a treated Douglas, so we can go about 9. And we go 9 because we're going to have 2-foot cantilevers on each side. We're going to have the max 2-foot cantilever is all we can do. Without the cantilever, we could go 11, but we will be putting cantilevers on it. So what is a cantilever? Cantilever means that the joist is bearing here and it cantilevers in space. The edge is floating. That's the cantilever. So let's go back to our deck structure, deck support, and let's change the beam spacing to 9 feet. Tab, hit OK, and that's closer to what we want. Except we want it to be, we want a 2-foot cantilever on each end, and that is not what's happening here. This is less than 2 feet. What is it exactly? What we can do is let's grab a line. See how it turns into a triangle? That's the center point of our structure. Stretch it along there. Now let's dimension it. And then dimension from there to there. It's 1'4", and we want to be at 2 feet. So how do we change that? So let's pick the deck again and hit deck support. I think we want to go general, structure, deck. Automatically regenerate deck framing. Now we're going to click that off so we can edit the components. Okay, now we can edit the components. We want this line to be here, so let's make that happen. First thing we would like to do is generate the 2-foot line at the bottom. Let's generate a 2-foot line at the bottom using our guidelines. I have a guidelines video that shows how to do this. Go there. Let's dimension it, and this will also become the dimension, centerline dimension for the structure. Right now, we want to change that to 2 feet. We want to have a 2-foot cantilever. So let's change that to 2 feet. And we want to make this a centerline dimension. So let's edit that line. That line style should be, I like to use a red color for my structural center lines, and that indication, centerline indication there. And we can stretch that across. That's where we want that guy to go. Now here's create command, object, paint that object, that. So now we have 2 center lines. Now that's the center line, and then let's paint this one. We want to get rid of this because that's not what we wanted. Now we also want some other center lines this way. So let's, you know that they evenly space these. There's our triangle, we know we're at the center of that. There's our triangle, we know we're at the center of that. Triangle, center of that. Notice how I'm trying to keep my extension lines about the same place, so we have some neat drafting going on. We want the extension lines about the same place. There's that there. We can use our dimension manual to dimension these. There. And actually we do not want this to be a centerline dimension. So let's take our object painter, click on that, click on that. There it is. This is the spacing here, 6, 11, 5/16. That put the little difference in the middle, kept these the same. Chief just calculated all that automatically with their algorithm. Okay, which is really nice. Now let's paint these. These will be center lines. Center lines of the post. Center lines of the post painted. Into structural center lines. Let's stretch these center lines so that we can easily snap where we want them. We want to make sure we're straight, don't veer off to one side or another. Really. Stretch that guy. There. Stretch that guy. There. Stretch this guy. There. And now we want to paint this guy. This is our center line. I thought we painted them. Changed back for some reason. Oh, because they were connected. That's why I see they're connected. And we'll just leave it alone. We can unconnect it. We don't want this, so let's get rid of this. We don't want that. We want these guys and the beam to move here. So now we have, that's where we want it. Pick it and just snap it into place. We can pick this, it's tab, to find our beam. And we can pick that, and now Now it's snapping to one edge, and we want it to snap to the center line. Let's just use a point-to-point move. Let's point. And it won't let us do that either. Just grab it, hit Control, and hit center one there. So now our beam's centered. Now we want our post Pier centered. And we just grab it and snap it there. We would not have been able to do this unless we unclick the dialog box. Going for accuracy. This is professionalism, not amateurism. Let's pick that there. Go there. Let's take a moment to talk about the footings required, in this case the concrete pier, and how deep it should go. You have to concern yourself with frost, so depending on what region of the United States you are, or whatever country you're in, you need to make sure that you're below the frost line. Otherwise you'll get heave if you place it above the frost, and in the spring the deck will be crooked. It'll have moved significantly. So you want to make sure you're at the correct, you make sure that you pour the piers to below the frost line. If you're on a slope site, you want to make sure that you go below the piers. You make sure you're still below the 40. In our case, we are in the Chicago area, and the code requires us to be 42 inches below. We're right about here, about 42 inches below. Okay, why does frost depth concern us? Because we want to make sure the piers, when we go in section, are shown at the correct depth. So let's pick deck again, and let's go to deck support, and we want it 6 inches above the terrain. We really, 42 inches is the depth. If they're going to be 6 inches, we really want these to be poured 48. So they're 42 inches below frost, and in this case the contractor will be using a 9-inch sonotube form, so we want them to be 9-inch round, not square. And Chief throws in some rebar. Okay, so what does that look like? Let's take our floor overview camera and hit see, there they are, 6 inches above, 48 inches deep, spacing that we want. We've turned the walls off invisibly, but we can turn them back on. Let's turn the invisible walls back on by selecting them all and clicking, and we'll take control, make sure we've got those picked, and no longer make them invisible. So let's see what that looks like in 3D. Something like that. But for this, we were only concerning ourselves with a deck plan, so that's just a little representation. Let's go back to our floor plan. So when we print it in 2 dimensions, we want the walls to be solid and not dash lines. Okay, to turn this into a construction document that we can hand over to the building department for approval. In this case, they do want a drawing. In this jurisdiction, if it's over 400 square feet, or no, over 200 square feet, they want a drawing and make sure that it's structurally sound. So let's give them the drawing. We need dimensions and some notes. Let's add some dimensions with us. Shoot that across there, dimension that there, and we can get rid of this one since it'll be a little redundant, and we can then easily just slide this around. We have to. Something like that. Let's get rid of that one. A little redundant. And some more notes. What is all this stuff? According to the dialog box, this is a built-up 2x8 treated beam. So let's tell them that's what the deal is. So let's go over to text. And this consists of two 2x8 pressure treated beam, typical TYP. And the background is white out there. I really like to read. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we could just leave it. And let's draw the arrow. Arrow is good. I really don't like those arrows. So let's go over to our edit preferences. Default settings, actually. Not dimensions, this would be the text arrows. So let's go to text, callouts, and markers. Arrow, edit, 1/4 inch. And let's edit that. And yes, we picked this one out, that's fine. Okay, okay, done. So now, let's get rid of this one, which we do not like, because it's very wimpy, not graphical enough. Hit our leader line, point to what we want, go to our text, hit escape, and there it is. And if we want, we can also just point to this guy there, and also point to this guy there. Hit control, and there we go. Okay, we have a little cleanup to do. Chief automatically has generated a 4x8 beam and place it there, and we do not want it to conflict with what we actually want to build. So let's go to our framing set dialog box, turn off, search for it, but it's framing label. See the little red arrow means it's used, so we click on that. Let's not display it, and it vanishes. Alright, let's tell the carpenter and lumber supplier what else we need. So what are all these? What is all this stuff? We want to say that these are 2x8 joists, so let's say that. Put some text here. What is this? These are 2x8 joists, JOISTS, and they're pressure treated. And they are at 16 inches on center. 16 inches, O, not 0, O period, C period. Okay. And we put that there. And we can have a little, let's put that there. And what I want to do, it starts to white out. I really don't like the white out. I really like to see what I drew. So fill styles have solid white. Let's put none. Now we can see the beam and whatnot. We also want, in this case, since we've drawn out all the joists, the joist direction is obvious, so we don't need a joist arrow. But what we can do is just use our little, let's just go bing, escape, bing, point to it, grab it again, leader line, bing, 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 got it. Okay, so we added the Pier note, and make sure we had a bracket on it. And for those of you who don't know what that is, let me show you. That's a Simpson strong tie bracket. When you pour the Pier and the concrete's still wet, you just drop that guy in. Make sure this is square to where you want it. And later on you can throw a bolt, nails, and tie the thing together. Now let's do the deck indication. Let's go to take a rectangular polyline. Let's just do something like that. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's put some breakpoints in it. There, there, there. Stretch it around a little bit. Yeah, let's put another breakpoint there. Stretch it. And let's put another breakpoint in it. There. Stretch it a little bit. Now let's convert some lines into arcs. So let's make that line an arc. There. Let's make this line an arc. There. Now let's fill it. Let's go over to our menu. Fill style. What we would like is a horizontal hatch, and let's space it at 5.5 tab. And now we have our deck fill. And we can move that in place. And right there, the deck looks something like that. And then we can put our deck note on it. And we can make that solid. Make the background solid. Fill style. Transparent. Right, we can see that a little confusing. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that that is moved up front. So let's go to the fill style, line style. Instead of the default CAD layer, we would like it to be the front. And what that does is that it whites that out. Now we have our deck indication. Now we just have to, so we type in 5/4 by 6 decking, and let's just slide it on top. And let's see, we're going to do something about that tab. Let's see if we can put that in front. Line. And on text, let's go to the front. And hopefully we'll be okay. And let's make that transparent if we can. Fill style. So solid. Let's make it none. And there we go. Okay, time to throw this on a layout sheet and turn it in for a permit. So we open up our pre-made 8x10 layout sheet, floor plan, file, send it to the layout, 1/4 inch is what we want, current screen so it doesn't fill everything up. Sounds good. Let it go. And there we go. And whoa, barely squeaks in there. But overall dimensions, notes, existing house, missing a few things, but we'll touch that up a little later. We're good to go. See you next time. Well, that's it for now. Don't forget to shoot us an email at chiefarchitectworkshop@gmail.com to get part 2, how to create deck details in Chief. Absolutely free. Gratis. Nada. All we ask for is your email for future updates about what we are up to. And also, send us your comments, gripes, tell us how we can improve. What topics would you like us to cover? What are you struggling with? We can help. We have been using Chief since it was simply Chief Architect. Yes, version 1 was many years ago. We use Chief to design, visualize, and present to our design and build clients. Use our experience to help you increase your proficiency in Chief.